can't see.
So that's me. I was lucky enough to get in the closed beta test for Aether Gazer, and it was really good. So if you don't know, Aether Gazer is an upcoming hack and slash gacha game that features action focused gameplay that made similar titles like Punishing Grey Raven or Honkai Impact so successful. And so how does Aether Gazer fare against these two titles and as a gacha game? Well, come along with me as we gaze into the world of Aether Gazer. So welcome to Aether Gazer. Let's first talk about the gameplay. It's really good. It has a similar formula to Punishing Grey Raven or Honkai Impact in that you play a team of 3 characters. Now each of these characters come with 3 abilities plus an ultimate skill. Now one thing to note is that you are unable to switch out these characters mid-battle, and so the other 2 characters in your team are controlled by AI, which at first is a little disappointing, as some of the fun from the other games, Punishing Grey Raven for example, is learning when to switch out your characters, when not to, what abilities you should use on them, and all that. Now this could be Aether Gazer's attempt at appealing to a more casual player base, but does sadly remove a bit of that complexity. Now one thing Aether Gazer does focus on is their skill system, in which you'll need to combo the abilities together to deal massive amounts of damage, rather than just spam them as they come off cooldown. So for example, with this guy who's a katana wielding badass, that reminds me a lot of Kazuha. His main sort of game plan is to have him enter a wildfire state that will make his blade erupt into flames, and then to use his other skills and mixing in normal attacks to deal the maximum amount of damage. Now this is pretty fun, as rather than just again spamming the skills as it comes off cooldown, you will need to be wary of what skills you are using as well as what order you're using them in. Now while you cannot switch characters, you will still be able to use their ultimate skill whenever you choose, and these come with a cool little cutscene, and you'll also have the ability to combine ultimates if you have the right people in your team. But again, I would have much rather been able to actually play these characters than to just have AI control them. But that's pretty much it for the basic gameplay of Aether Gazer. But now let's talk about the characters. So for the characters themselves, they call them modifiers in this game and are very customizable. You can level them, level their skills, level their weapons. They have sigils, which are pretty much memories from Punishing Grey Raven, or artifacts from Genshin. You have this thing called the Aether Code, which is a sort of mini skill tree that can give you huge bonuses to your character. There's a lot here, a lot of stuff to customize your character with, a lot of choice, which I think is the thing that developers are trying to emphasize. Choosing which functor to attune to your weapon, choosing which sigils to run, choosing which nodes you should get in the Aether Code is ultimately very cool. I had a lot of fun mixing and matching to find the best build I could. Now as for what you'll use your modifiers for, let's take a look at the varying game modes of Aether Gazer. So of course we have the main story. Now I didn't pay too much attention to the story, but it seems okay. You have 2 difficulties right now, normal and hard. We have supplies, which is the ways you can get all the different materials you'll need. You have sigils to get, well, sigils, and finally you have challenge. So this is where the sort of in-game slash hard content of the game will be. And so firstly we have Hazard Zone. Now Hazard Zone is, if I were to compare this with something, it's kinda Punishing Grey Raven's normal revival mode, in that there are multiple stages in one hazard zone, and the smaller ones will give you bonuses to help complete the last big one that will be filled with mobs and small bosses. You'll gain a currency that you can buy special 5-star sigils. Now this was pretty fun, although a bit easy, but I'm sure it gets harder as you go along, as if you successfully complete it, the next time it refreshes, you'll go to the next difficulty. Now we also have the Recurring Dream mode, which is pretty much Phantom Pain Cage from Punishing Grey Raven. It's a boss mode which you face against 2 bosses with varying difficulties, and then upon completion you'll gain a currency that can be used to purchase various rewards, including intel. So what is intel? Pretty much when you pull a character you already own, you'll gain intel, which can be used in the transcendence page of a character. Now this is where intel can be used to gain bonuses for specific characters, and enough intel you can rank them up. So S rank characters can go from S to SS to SSS, and finally Transcendence. Now, upon reaching Transcendence, you'll gain a really good ability that will lower the number of sigils needed for a set effect by 1, meaning that if I understand this correctly, you could effectively equip 3 sets of sigils rather than 2, as normally you have 6 slots and most sigils will require 3 to get the set bonus, meaning usually you want to run 2 sets of sigils to get both bonuses, but with this you'll be able to run 3 sets of sigils, which is pretty damn good. But will a free-to-play player or a light spender be able to get to this level? Probably not, which means that divide between a free-to-play player and a whale will be pretty damn huge. But now the final mode in this game is the dimensional variables. Now this is a really cool mode. It's pretty much like a roguelike mode in the game in which you choose 3 modifiers, characters, to go into battle with. These modifiers don't need to be ones you own, which is good news for free-to-play players. Once you go in, you'll face stages of enemies, and as you progress, you get the ability to choose different bonuses for your characters, different sigils, weapons, and all that while gaining money to buy treasures, the usual roguelike stuff. Now, this is a fun mode, and while I don't think it quite reaches the high highs of integrated strategies mode from Arknights, I still think it's extremely fun, and with some adjustments it could become a mode I put a lot of my time into. But now that's pretty much it for the closed beta test of Aether Gazer. The only really other thing is the actual gacha of it. In terms of what you can pull for, there are 2 things. Firstly, modifiers, which are like the characters, and functors, which are pretty much weapons. It will take you 70 pulls to get an S rank character, with a 50% chance of it being the featured character. And then if you don't get that featured character, then you'll 100% get it the next time you get an S rank character. So pretty much it's very similar to how Gacha Impact works. Now, we couldn't buy any currency, so it's hard to say how much the average 10 pull cost will be, nor do we have a good idea of how much premium currency you can get per week or per month. Although if you are a Chinese player, I'm sure you could figure this out, although it might change once the game gets released. But now overall, this closed beta was a ton of fun. It made me very excited to play the game once it comes out, which is probably pretty soon, as they did announce it would come out during Q4 of this year, which is now. And so when it comes out, definitely give it a try if you're a fan of Punching Grey Raven or Honkai Impact. But that is it for this video. Now I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.